Sisi tumezaliwa katika nchi hii, hatuna nchi nyingine. Kwa hiyo ni kwamba tunapenda uhuru wa maoni, tunapenda kuzuia utekaji.
Tunaandamana kwa sababu uchaguzi si wa haki. Sababu tuliokuwa tunawataka kwanza hawapo. Wameweka watu wao.
Sijapigwa, lakini nimepigishwa magoti na familia yangu pasipo na sababu, na kosa silijui, lakini nimejitetea nikiwa ndani. Jamani, hapa pana amani, kaambia toka nje.
The Tanzania side, they think we are behind. To them, stability and investors most probably will look the Tanzanian way of style. Why? Because it's predictable. One party is ruling. It's like China. Why is China thriving? Almost 2 billion, almost 1 point something billion people is governed on one party. If democracy goes to China, democracy will have a rivalry. It will have that now. It will have split their country into different regions, different ethnics, different Chinese cities will have become different countries. To the Western style of democracy is also nowadays have a question mark.
This is Dove Podcast, crafting stories, building brands.
Director, I want us to discuss about the Tanzanian election. Yes, I remember Samia Suluhu, the president of Tanzania. She's now facing the first election because remember she was appointed. It's just a culture. Whereby when the president dies, the deputy president took over immediately. So she took over for Tanzania presidency. But now today we are having an election whereby remember the main opposition leader from Tanzania was just looking here at the results. The sitting president, who is Samia Suluhu, made sure that the Chama cha Demokrasia na Maendeleo, which is called Chadema, led by Tundu Lissu, they are not on election today because they said that they never attended during the signing of a code of ethics. Code of ethics, it is done by the election body from Tanzania. Do you feel that this is a political game, or the opposition party are the one who failed to attend today or to appear in election in Tanzania?
To my understanding, lately in Africa, we're having the rise of extreme nationalists. When someone uses extreme nationalists to clamp down the opposition, now it gives them an upper hand against the opposition. Unlike here in Kenya, we become a paradise. We are too much democratic here that even the president can be faked to death, can be done anything.
Yes.
Youth can wake up and riot. Sometimes Kenya, even the democracy here in Kenya, even it's not in USA. Why? We are too much democratic. That's why there's also a topic we're going to talk, the cyber, which is called cyber law, which will call cartel, people who are extremely going beyond. Everything should must have a boundary line. But in Tanzania, it's opposite. People are hiding under the excuse of extreme nationalists so that they protect the national interest. Others are foreigners or foreign agents. So that's the term to be used for any opposition. But they want the status quo to continue, and the Chama what is called the ruling party now.
Yes, Chama cha Mapinduzi.
Chama cha Mapinduzi or CCM to continue their legacy so that it becomes like the Chinese People's Republic, Chinese, what's called Chinese, the current Chinese, what is their name? The Chinese Communist Party.
Oh, Communist Party.
So that's party hierarchy, then someone rises from down up there. Tomorrow he won. So mostly they look like how China is governed, because Tanzania historically are known for mambo na ujamaa, that's communist style of democracy. To them we respect them, but now they're using extreme nationalism to curtail the opposition. So and it happens to the Tundu Lissu to now be affected by such a move.
I was thinking that is when you talk about East Africa, we were thinking Kenya is among the countries that are developing now. Although Tanzania is also a third world country, but we were thinking that they're having now development in democracy, like Kenya now. In Kenya you cannot be not given that opportunity because we have that something called democracy. Tanzania, apart from Kenya, Tanzania is the second one in East Africa. But today we are seeing most of them, they are not there. Those people who are vying together with, they're competing Samia Suluhu. There are those people who cannot compete him. So how can you advise those people from Tanzania? Do they have democracy or they don't?
To them, democracy is still continuing the status quo. To them, that's their version of democracy. To them, they see Kenya as a bad example. Why? Because in Kenya, now our politics is based on tribal. The tribal majority here in Kenya, every time we go to election, it's like the country is going to break down because of different function. Although if were it not God, then Raila's statesmanship, we are coming in, he always brings the bridge together. He shakes hands with different government. If Moi is under attack, Raila could go and shake hands. If it was Kibaki, he shook hands. And now Uhuru. And also Ruto, when he went through the hell of Gen Z, when the young people uprising that happened from central Kenya, that wanted a bloodless coup to take over the current regime, but now Raila saved it. The face, it's called broad-based government. I think to the Tanzania side, they think we are behind. To them, stability, and investors most probably will look the Tanzanian way of style. Why? Because it's predictable. One party is ruling. It's like China. Why is China thriving? Almost 2 billion, almost 1 point something billion people is governed one party. If democracy goes to China, democracy will have a rivalry. It will have that now. It could have split their country into different regions, different ethnics, different Chinese cities could have become different countries. To the Western style of democracy is also nowadays have a question mark. Democracy under the Western eyes, I don't know, is now accepting their culture. When it favors them now, it's democracy. When it does not favor, it's not democracy. Sometimes it's the case of Ibrahim Traore, now a hero for his country, but to the eyes of democracy, it's not democracy. To Tanzania, to themselves, they are seeing now they are the hero of their country. Why? Tanzania is a big country, well reserved in terms of resources. So to protect their identity and their culture and different ethnics, to them, that path they are taking, the Chamacha Pepinduzi style, is the only savior. So to them, they are in democracy under their eyes. But to the world, democracy under the Western angle means different. So now is a question of whose lens are you looking to? So if you're looking for the Western style, they are undemocratic. Although every angle and every democracy has its extreme bad side and good side. Tanzania has its good side, at the same time its own bad side in terms of, but if you look for Kenyan context or Westernized context, Tanzania is not doing. But to them, the stability, the economy is going slowly but sure. Companies and foreign investors want stability. Now Tanzania is a heaven a bit. Why? There won't be that much rioting, but unlike in Kenya, every election is a war. We are going to war unless you shake hands with the government. Otherwise, you stabilize it. So I don't know.
Okay, I think directly you're talking a very nice point, whereby you're saying that you cannot compare Kenya and Tanzania. I think the last question will be about the comparison between Kenya and Tanzania in terms of election. But before that, from your perspective, do you feel that the current president, Samia Suluhu, is she a dictator? Or she fears competition? Because if you can look, the way she has done to her opponents, it is not democratically correct. But secondly, I've been trying to look, even the musician, all of them, they are backing, they are singing Samia Suluhu, Samia Suluhu, Samia Suluhu. So is she a dictator or she fears competition?
The Tanzanian singers singing the praise of the government, Africa is their business. You have to sing because the country is like communist party. There's one party ruling the country. It's like Kanu's. Tanzania is like the 1980s of Kenya. They're behind a bit under the current quote in democracy in Africa and democracy of where every 5 years you go to head-to-head real competition. But here now is one dominant party. If a party that comes up well, they will be labeled foreign agents. Like now Tindulisu, he comes from Belgium, I don't know those countries, European countries. He came from. So they think that he's an agent that is sent to destabilize. To them, they are protecting their interest. So I think the issue of musician backing is because they are protecting their business. They have contracts with the government. You understand? Every time they sing for the government, they have like Wasafi Productions, they have radio station, they have all these setups. So you go against your balls, against the government, you can't. But to Samia Suluhu, she's a lady. She has to be tough. And in African context, when you want power is not given. You take it by force.
It's grab.
So you grab, you cartel. Unlike in that, if you were on her shoes and you want to win this thing, you close all. You close all those roads.
Now election, she's going
to be the first female, so she has to compete herself. Nothing else.
According to you, to answer my question, does she fear election or is she a dictator?
Okay, it depends who is seeing who. To their country, there are people who love her. To her, to maybe her strategy of winning, she has to clear her path, maybe, and power. If you get an opportunity, if you get an opportunity, you can deal with your opponent.
For me to ask that.
Skiza, if you can deal with your opponent in any means, politics is not given. If Tindulisu was in this position, he could also have done the monkey work. Africa, whoever is having the upper hand cracks down the opponents for him to get a clear victory road. But if she sees that Nduluzu will give her a thorough beating, although head to head, I don't think he can win if they are put in the. But now I don't know what excuse they have to lock him up. But I could have preferred they compete and she beats him.
Because for me to ask that question, look at President Dr. William Ruto during 2022 election. You know, he had to face the late Raila Odinga together with the current president that time, which is President Uhuru Kenyatta. And President Ruto won, a victorious one. So why does this Samia Suluhu don't want to face people like Tindeluso? I was trying to look those people who are vying with her. We have here Saum Rashid. Hata saizi ukiuliza mtu who is Saum Rashid, they don't know. We have someone called Pinje, Tartas, we don't know. Those are stamps that are not even, those are called rubber stamp. Is she trying to vie with those people who are not even known?
I think, in Africa, and she's a lady, I think maybe she's a survival way.
Yes.
Survival tactics. For her to win that presidency, she has to clear the thorns along the way, which is now the major political party.
Okay.
And then Tanzanians have a culture of labeling any threat to their Chama cha Mapinduzi or their foreign agents or their spies or they are sent outside to destabilize the country. So in the name of extreme nationalism, they have to protect the country. Now, under that rule, under that now chapter, now she has got a thorough. So already she has won at 9 a.m. She's going to win because no clear opponent. But I think Tanzania need to improve more than that, as they protect their culture, as they protect their one chama, as they protect their stability. Because in Tanzania, as a businessman, I'm talking for majority of businessmen, they like that stability. After all, as long as people are happy, whoever is there, and they are doing the right things, the good thing in Tanzania, they are less corrupt than Kenya. That's a well fact known. Tanzania is less corrupted than, yes, Africa corruption is there, but less corrupted people. They follow the rules, they follow their country, and then 99% they go and listen to their music. Unlike Kenya, we dip ourselves. Even if you are selling chips along the way, what you're selling, you are frying cookies or you're selling eggs, you have to be a politician in Kenya. Everything politics in Kenya. But in Tanzania, they mind 99% their tarabs, their music, which is their food. They don't care who is the president. So this is a peaceful country, peaceful. So let us, Kenyans, let us not go and bring our nonsense to them. So that is their culture, that's the way they live. To my opinion, let them live the way they live. We respect. Other countries live in terms of monarchy. So these are indirect monarchs, but you can't now label the westernized eye of the westernized way of democracy, and then you look that lens with Tanzania. It will be now you will get the wrong result. But if you look their culture, and like Uganda, Museveni is living the Buganda way. So to them, that's their democracy and their stability. Otherwise, if we bring the chaos in Kenya to those countries in terms of every 5 years, there's going to be fierce competition. In Kenya, we spend billions of money,
yes,
in terms of dollars, to compete just a general election. Whoever loses now, not only loses a battle, he loses billions of Kenya shilling. He will cry because he is already under loss. Maybe he took bank loans, he took friends' money for him to guarantee that he's going to win. Now he loses. What will he do? He will now start chaos. What happens in Kenya after elections? Fujo. That strategy is a way of getting to the government, give me back something, or I've lost the election. Wewe umechukua nyama yote, mimi nikuangalie, lazima nikusumbue. The culture is here in Kenya. So let us not export to those cultures to other countries. Every country has a unique way of living, their own style of governance, their own style of one party. So in Tanzania, let's assume it's a one party state. The rest is just a decoration of flower girls who are taking, but by this coronation, they are taking part the predetermined process. So the winner is Samia versus Samia Suluhu.
Okay. A few months ago, we saw a crisis between Kenya and Tanzania, and some members from Tanzania and I quote, they say that Kenya hakuna kitu ambacho tunaweza funza Tanzania. Yani walisema kwamba Tanzania ndio hakuna kitu ambacho Tanzania wanaweza kujifunza kutoka kwetu Kenya. But today we are seeing some things are not quite right in Tanzania. So you as a man who have been in this politics for long, how can you compare Kenyan election with that one of Tanzania in terms of maturity, arrangement and organization?
For Kenyan, we are more of a British country. We are more of westernized. Kenya is Silicon Valley of Africa. is way ahead of most African countries. That's why in Kenya, the major natural resource we have is our brain work. We don't have major results in terms of oil. There are countries that are bigger than us in terms of oil production. Resources, we don't have. Our major resource is human capital we have. The human capital now, currently we're having explosion of human capital who are now don't have jobs, who don't have anything. They come and take their keys, and now every morning they wake up and do. So if those human beings, the government could create more jobs, they could have absorbed. But still, in African context, Kenya is ranked 5th in terms of GDP, in terms of economic growth. It's due to, it's not the resource they have. It is due to the human capital resource and the service industry that exploits Kenya, and then the democracy. Here in Kenya, any person can come in and start a business. No excuse, no nothing. A Nigerian can learn today, tomorrow he's hawking in the streets. No one can tell him. Even there's a time here in Mombasa, we are currently in Mombasa shooting these videos. The Chinese came here, they were hawking. Many Kenyan hawkers who are sleeping, they demonstrated why. If Chinese are coming to hawking, what business remains with us? So some Chinese were seen hawking around Mambeteari, I don't know Mambeteari, in what you call Isoko, Kongwea, here in Mombasa. So people were like, now the Chinese are also coming after this hawking market. So in Kenya, it's free in terms of you can set up. A Somali can come up from Mogadishu and set up a business and create, as long as he complies the KRA and other things, and then he's a taxpayer. Kenya's democracy is much matured. Unlike other countries, in Tanzania, setting up a business, not like Kenya, you understand? So see, so you compare comparison of Kenya and Tanzania. I'll come to the point. In terms of election, let me back. I think we're ahead in terms of we are more mature, we're more transparent in Kenya, and because we have been since 1991, our electoral process was improving day by day. Okay. Coming to 2026, our electoral will be so transparent that even the loser will complain other nonsense, but it will be transparent because election is declared at the polling station. Every polling station, the strategy, get your votes totally with physical copies, and then whoever will be declared will be directly the president, 270 plus, I think something like that. So unlike in Tanzania, it is, we can't compare, it is their way of living to have one party, and that was after independence until today.
You're using the same party.
You can compare Chinese Communist Party and Chama cha Mapinduzi. Same culture, same. I think Chinese has a lot of influence in Tanzania because mostly they're the one who are mining their resources. Tanzania is, they have more mineral than us. Every mineral is happening in Tanzania. So their people are less interested in politics currently. Unlike in Kenya, we are super educated. So we mine not only our business, we mine our neighbor's business. So let us leave them the way they live. We wish them the best, nothing else we can wish. But in terms of comparison, we are ahead of them a lot in terms of structure, in terms of electoral, in terms of freedom of speech. But to them, they are back in the 1980s. I'm not here to insult them, but we also respect you Tanzanians. If I come to your country, usinishike yale sehemu mnajua yale gololish, lakini nawatetea kidogo muishi vile mnaishi. Sikizeni Diamond wenu. Haya tutamwini mambo yenu. Diamond wanaita Diamond.
Diamond, wow.
That's the more president than the president. So to them they follow the gossips. Nani amezalisha nani akatia mimba mtu, hizo ndo mambo yao wanapenda Tanzania.
Last question before we switch gear now. If you could be Dr. Samia Suluhu legal advisor, how can you tell her?
I'll tell her, to her, she's not wrong. Yes. She found a culture. When you find a culture, your predecessors were cracking other people's skulls. What will you expect? For you to stay this throne, you don't have to be. So she's showing she also has that male dominant heritage because she didn't come up through the party easily. Maybe she took time, she went through the process, she waited this opportunity. And if today it presents itself in African context and power is here, you want to grab the next 5 years. Or otherwise, if you play around, people will snatch it from you, Nanikwisha. So she doesn't want a disgrace to the party culture. So to them, they are one party, stated that they should have no opponent along the way. So she has cleared her opponent and the path is clear to victory. So she's waiting her certificate to collect and she's declared a winner. And the West will not say much about why, because Tanzania has a lot of resources. So the West, who cares a lot of democracy, are not saying a lot about Tanzania. Why? To them, the mineral, other things are important, and the stability. So let us live as Kenyans and Africans, the Tanzanian way of culture. Let us not liberate them. Let them themselves know that it's their political right to liberate themselves. If you see them, they are being behind. So with time, things will open up. People will wake up. Maybe one day they will have their own different system. They will have 2-party system. They will have 3. But as of currently, the only party that dominates in Tanzania is Chama cha Mapinduzi. What is it called?
CCM.
CCM is the only.
From our side, I think we say from Kenya, we all of them the best election by. Remember, they're electing president, at the same time they're electing members of parliament and councillors. I think they don't have governors in Tanzania. They have councillors. Councillors, they're like MCAs in Kenya, and then members of parliament are the same, like here in Kenya. So all the best to all people. Thank you so much, Director, for that. Thank you so much, our audience, for that. Until next time.
This is Dove Podcast, crafting stories, building brands.